Welcome to M Squared TechCast.
Hey, it's Mike Brennan.
And Matt Roush.
And you're watching M Squared TechCast, actually MITech News TV now that we're in video. And so Matt is back with us again, our regular co-host. We had Rick Thompson in last month filling in. So we're back to tech. And speaking of tech, we have Greg Doyle from Oakland County. And I'm not sure, I know, what's your actual title for Tech248? Are you the manager or what?
Yeah, so probably got about 4 titles, actually.
Yeah,
I've
seen your business card. It's like, 3 feet long. So.
Yeah. So really, my main responsibility in economic development is in the entrepreneurial services side.
Right.
So officially, I manage the one-stop shop business center.
Okay.
It's a mouthful, right?
Right.
And, just part of our responsibility is this initiative called Tech248. So this is one of the things I do in addition to my daytime job.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this. Maybe the first time folks have heard of Tech248. I know from previous times you've been on the show and whatnot, there is something in the neighborhood of 4,000 tech companies in Oakland County, of which about half of them are small operations, and then the rest, of course, are bigger operations.
Yeah. So when you look at just small business in general in Oakland County, it's a huge number. But as it relates to Tech248, we really want to scope it to tech companies. And these are like digital media companies, IT companies, kind of your traditional. And when we looked at that, the numbers are pretty astounding. Like you mentioned, 4,000. But, really almost all of them are classified as small businesses. So they'd be 100 employees or under. But it's just a huge number in comparison to other counties across the state. So we really wanted to do something to help bolster that, help connect that group of people together. And that's Tech248.
Okay, so what services and programs do you offer?
So really, Tech248 it's a network, and the main objectives of this network, the very first one and the most important, is just to help connect people. As we had all of these stories of these little tech companies, you hear a story where, hey, I got this big deal. It was a little bit too large for me. I had to outsource part of it, so I outsourced it to this company in California, and then they come to find out, 4 months later, that the California company outsourced it to a company that was one floor above them here in Oakland County.
Wow.
So
Grand Circus.
We just had lots of stories like that. So even though they're in the tech industry, this kind of personal connection was really a big thing. So the big activity is really meetups and trying to get people networking and together. And
letting people know that other companies exist that can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I think the most interesting thing about the tech companies in Oakland County is how diverse they are in what they do, and that their customer base is typically outside of the region. So you have a lot of these small companies. I think you guys have interviewed a number of them where you get this story that they're doing business with Disney or with Microsoft or whoever else out there. So from an economic development perspective, boy, that's tremendously valuable for Oakland County.
So what's new with Tech2? We probably should recap 2019. So
what's been the highlights of this year?
Yeah, so 2019, we had 11 events. So we typically skip December, but we did have an event this past week over at Centropolis. I bet you know Centropolis, right?
Yeah. We've heard of that just a little bit. Yeah, that's at Lawrence Technological University in Southfield. Where's my bell? Shameless plug.
Ding.
The shameless plug bell. We don't have one.
But it's as you know, it's a great new incubator accelerator in Michigan, and we wanted to expose the network to that great resource. So we had over 90 people there. So that place was packed. It was standing room only. They got to demonstrate what they do at the incubator.
Hardware accelerator.
The hardware accelerator.
Yeah. Well, that is one thing that we noticed is that virtually all of the accelerators in the Detroit area, and there's some really great ones, but they almost all deal with software or apps. And what do we do here in the Detroit area? We make stuff. So we wanted an accelerator for people who are going to make stuff, make physical products.
Sure.
I think it's a great, it's really focused well. So I'm excited.
And we've had a number of those
Centropolis.
companies on the show, too. So.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure you will for years to come.
Right.
There's just really some great capabilities there. And of course, I mentioned earlier that the crux of what I do is we work with entrepreneurs every day. So we've already sent probably 3 of the companies we work with over to Centropolis to talk to. So the opportunity to work with Centropolis to develop a prototype is just a great thing. So So 2019 for Tech248 has really been a great year. We will, I don't have the exact number, but we're going to pass 2,000 in membership this year.
Really, that many? Huh?
So that's great. And the other interesting thing is we're looking at the companies they're coming from. It's like 600 different companies. So pretty wide variety of people doing different things that are part of that network. And we're still showing, about 80 to 100 people showing up at each of these meetups that happen. So it's been very healthy. One of the new things we did that I thought that you guys would be interested in is we're talking about connectivity. We wanted to do something that was even more, what would be the right word? It would be more focused and even more local. And so we've experimented with, in 2019, this thing that we're calling Entrepreneurial Journeys. And really what it is an opportunity for less experienced IT or tech-related CEOs to just do a Q&A, a facilitated session with another CEO that's had 10 or more years of experience. So, you get that opportunity to ask, what were the bumps in the road, and how did you get over that? And so we scoped those really small. We partnered with a couple of local co-working spaces to do those, and we've had some really good results with that. So it's just a really focused, let's talk CEO to CEO. And so we'll continue that in 2020.
So what are the opportunities for people to get involved with Tech248?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to do that. So, I mean, of course, all you have to do is just go to tech248.com, take a look around. You can register as a member. That's the easiest, quickest thing to do. But there's opportunities to potentially speak, as long as you're not just coming there to try and sell something. If you've got some technical expertise,
like the insurance salesman or somebody.
Yeah, right. We don't.
Yeah, no, I don't think
that's
so.
not going to work. That's
Bob loves those guys, right? So
I never get any sales pitches in my job either, right? Sure. Yeah, right.
That, and when we formed Tech248, that was one of the first things I said. We want to do these meetup things, but boy, we don't want it to turn into, here's a new insurance policy that you could buy. So we're really careful about that. But there's opportunities for people to be a guest speaker. There's opportunities for companies to host. We've been to some really cool companies over the years. And there's opportunities as well. People kind of think this Tech248 thing runs on its own. Guess what? I mean, one of the successes is that there's really a great group of volunteers at cities and villages and townships across Oakland County. Some of the economic development people and entrepreneurs that work together with us to help us find a topic for a meetup, help us find a venue for a meetup. So there's a whole organizing committee and people can get involved in too if they want to do that.
Plus you break it down by sort of regions within the county, right?
Yeah. So we looked at, if you look at how many businesses are and where they're located, and you looked at the density, we mapped that out and came up with 5 geographic districts in Oakland County. So we're organized around those districts and volunteers in those districts, and we try to move the events around to those districts through the course of the year.
Yeah, the needs and interests of a company in Holly are going to be different from those in Ferndale, right?
So, yeah, right. And, the types of companies out in Holly are pretty much going to be the one-man show.
Yep.
But, boy, that becomes really valuable for them, doesn't it? Because they're sitting up in Holly. Now, what better way to get connected to other bigger companies and people in your industry?
Of the universe of companies that you have in Tech248, what would you say by terms of type of business it is and what they do? What are the biggest areas? I mean, software, for instance, would be one, I imagine, right?
Yeah, software, traditional IT type businesses. And then there's a lot of digital media companies. I mean, a lot. This is really a focus. If you look across really the Midwest, this is one of the areas where these digital media or marketing companies are really strong here.
So are they doing video work, production, that kind of thing?
Yeah,
or what are they doing?
It's for a website. It's the creative side. It's video work. Companies that you guys know, like Vector Form and
heard of them,
companies like that. So we've got a lot of talent there in the area. So those would probably be the biggest makeup of Tech248 companies are in that.
I wonder if that's the sort of new generation's version of all those industrial filmmakers we used to have here for the car companies. That's sort of the modern version of that. Huh?
I'll tell you, if you can really kind of track the growth of these companies starting just before the real downturn and the emergence of this cluster of these little digital media companies happening over the course of the last 10 years. And it's all coming from that. I mean, they all had background. They didn't want to pack up and move away from beautiful Oakland County. So
that's it, yeah.
They started their own
But the
thing.
weather's always sunny and 70, right?
And, that's don't look out the door today.
Yeah, right.
But, that brings up the other point of the diversification. So you've got, I think, a lot of them coming from that auto industry, suffering that downturn and saying, we don't want to go through that again. And they deliberately started to seek out other industries to provide service to. Of course, they appreciate, and a lot of them still do work with auto industry, but it's not a dependent thing anymore.
No.
All right.
Got about 2 minutes left, Dave. So what do you want to wrap with? Want to talk about maybe how people can reach out to you guys?
Next event, maybe? The next event?
Yeah, the next event would be good.
The next event's still in planning. We're actually going to have 2 events in January. One out in Farmington at ACG, and another one out in Pontiac at a place called PC Miracles. So right away, we're going to start with a bang. January is going to have 2 events,
right?
And then we're working on February as well.
And no auto show to compete with this year.
That's a good point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. They'll be going. Well, we'll probably take off a month or 2. Yeah.
I'm waiting to see how they're gonna. The exciting Auto Week. It ties in with the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Penske's behind all this, so be interesting.
And basically they're going to turn Hart Plaza into another showroom. It's going to be a giant outdoor showroom, which hopefully it won't rain too much.
I mean, everybody I've talked to is really positive on that idea. So I mean, it sounds great to me.
Well, because we lost the German car companies last year, they didn't want to do it anymore, and I've been hearing rumors about GM wasn't all that keen on it anymore either. So, I mean, events are tough. I mean, that was the thing to get.
Sounds as though you speak from experience.
Yeah. So, I mean, now it's all social media is how you get people together, not so much physically get them together, but still, you got to see a car, touch the car,
sit in the car.
Sit in the car, know.
I mean, there's still nothing like that face-to-face,
Right.
But you're right, things have changed. It's more difficult these days.
Right.
So I think Tech248 is going to be a great 2020. Can't believe it's 2020.
Yeah, we're almost done with the teens. Huh? It's the roaring 20s again.
Yeah.
All right, what's the website, Greg?
Tech248.com.
Okay.
You can go to Advantage Oakland, Tech248.com, or you can just Google Tech248.com and you'll get there.
Well, thanks very much, Greg Doyle of Tech248. That's the Oakland County Tech Group.
Traditional 4-year students love Lawrence Technological University's thriving campus life. But LTU has always met non-traditional students' needs too. Lawrence Tech offers over 100 degree and certificate programs that can get adult students started or back on track. And most of our classes are conveniently offered evenings at our beautiful Southfield campus or online, so you can balance your social, family, and work life even while you power up your career. Lawrence Tech, where Blue Devils dare.